You guys broke 2,000 likes on the last episode, and we're so close to 350,000 subscribers. So let's do this again. Welcome back to the Airsoft Tops Series, where we show off just a few of the greatest loadouts and replicas from enthusiasts all around the world. After the last episode, so many people were quick to send me their loadouts and replicas to the USAirsoft Facebook and Instagram page. So let's get into a new episode. This is just 7 unique Airsoft loadouts, which is brought to you by SS Airsoft, where you can get all the gear you'll ever need to get on the field. Just be sure to use our coupon code every time you check out with them. And I would like to thank SRU Precision for sponsoring this episode. If we're going to talk about anything unique, then SRU is the perfect company to join us. In a world of basic M4s and high kappas, SRU is helping to make everything look one of a kind. You'll stand out even if you're starting with baseline M4s and AKs. Even the Action Army AAP-01 can look like this with an SRU Airsoft kit. I know a lot of AAP owners that could use a kit like this one. No matter if you have a SCAR or an M14, a classic AK, even VSR-10s can be completely transformed with the right SRU Airsoft kit. I would definitely say check out what they have on their website or what they have to show off on their Instagram. And hey, you just might see yourself in the next episode if you slap one of these on your replicas. But a big thanks goes out to the guys at SRU Precision for sponsoring this countdown. But with that said, let's kick this list off at number 7 with Tom of the UK, the second member of the 1st Battalion Boys to be featured on this series. A group that I don't think I'll ever get enough of, because great war loadouts will always be welcome to the Airsoft Tops Series. And Tom's German Guards Olan's kit is a work of dedication. Tom has always had an interest in World War I since he was about 6, from reading the history and watching old movies. Then by 13, Tom asked his mom to take him to an airsoft field where he fell in love with the sport. After turning 18 and running into too many no fun allowed reenactment groups, he searched for World War I airsoft groups, and that's how he discovered the 1st Battalion Boys. Fast forward 3 years later, and he's still enjoying kits just like this one. And when everyone else is running the same generic German kit, he picked a lesser seen cavalry drobe. Starting with the tunic, it's a special design only used by such units, who were by trade cavalry lancers. He did use up about 190 pounds for the tunic in his measurements, and along with that, he spent about 20 total hours sewing to add the various bits of red felt and ribbon at the collar and cuffs. He also redid the buttons from painted black to a dull copper finish. The pants are a cavalry model, and by design have a leather pad in between the legs to assist with making horse riding more comfortable. They're a godsend, as wool is a killer on the thighs. And for the webbing, he uses a World War II Luftwaffe officer's belt, as the normal ones are not secure enough. He then has a map case and a Mauser C96 holster hanging. As Tom's role in his team is that of a dispatch runner, this setup is to allow him to carry and deliver messages between officers, and the sidearm is characteristic of an NCO, which he is within the team. A few other mods were made to the uniform for comfort, and he also added on an entrenching tool, a bayonet, and a bread bag, though they only tend to get used at LARP soft events and never against players. But I would slap people with a bread bag, I'm just gonna say it. But since there are very few World War I weapons in Airsoft, and Tom's loadout calls for a short rifle, not the full-length Gewehr 98 was used with this. He uses a Kar 98K, which he's in the process of converting to a K98AZ. He also has a WE Tech 712, which acts as one of his backups. But you cannot forget about the rubber knife and the rubber stick grenades, and you'd be surprised how often Tom actually gets to use those. All in all, this is a beautiful way to spend 700 pounds. Not many people can flex such a great looking kit that even for its time period is so unique. I'd say that this is another win for the 1st Battalion Boys, and I'm sure we'll see more of them in the future. I would definitely say you guys should be proud of Tom. I love his kit, and I'm sure a bunch of people in the comments will echo that sentiment. But as we move into the 6th spot, things get even older, as a returning submitter from Warwickshire claims the spot for his Western-themed kit. Directly based on Lee Van Cleef's character of the classic A Few Dollars, Kristy felt something like this would fit perfect at his local site's Western-themed roleplay games, for which they built an entire Wild West town, complete with a jail, general store, and of course, a saloon. Which, right off the bat, is freaking awesome that a field would go that far just for one event. After going to a few of these games and seeing the effort that some other players were putting into their loadouts, especially the photos of which the site owner's photographer, Airsoft Project, took, he then knew he had to do something special. He had to put together his own loadout so he could properly attend one of these events. And this loadout consists of a cotton shirt, silk waistcoat with floral decorations, some soft black denim jeans with arm garters, and a long jacket with a black wool hat to finish the assembly. He then added on a cheap Amazon pocket watch that Kristy doesn't mind getting shot out. Now, Kristy did say that he uses this loadout as a cowboy sass fashion, so he uses 2 belts for this loadout. One is his main belt, which holds any 2 of his numerous Tanaka and Umrex Colt Single Action Army revolvers, both as a right-hand draw, and sometimes he has an extra holster for a Derringer or 2, which is a perfect little addition. The second belt is a shotgun belt, for when running his double-barreled coach gun or his 1887 lever shotgun is needed. Now, some people wouldn't call this loadout cheap, at around 400 pounds, but as they say, it ain't cheap to look this good. And already we've seen a World War I loadout and a Wild West loadout. Airsoft can be enjoyed in many different ways, and these historical setups really open people's eyes to that. I hope this inspires someone out there, and I hope we see more unique kits as we evolve and progress forward. And maybe we can see more replicas to fit the time periods that these players take part in. Only time will tell. I've got 3 more loadouts coming up in this next section. 200 people submitted for this show, and I always try to shove as many people in these episodes as possible. But even if you don't see yourself, there's always next episode. As for right now, a fellow Texas native named Kyle is claiming the 5th spot after a lot of hard work. Consisting of a bunch of scrap cobbled together, as Kyle said, we can see a camelback that routes into a fake gas mask made from an old 3M respirator, with a vest made from an old leather jacket with custom buckles and Kyle's personal logo spray painted on the back. It's also been adorned with rusty trinkets for a little pop. This whole thing was put together primarily for post-apocalyptic events such as Wasteland Weekend. But Kyle wanted to construct it in such a way that it was able to hold together and be useful in a skirmish and not just fall apart one piece after another with each step taken. Now, I like that everything consists of reused parts and molded scrap, even down to the gauntlets that are made from old welding gloves with fingers cut off and leather armor panels riveted to them. The pants are ripped up surplus, the boots are old work boots with metal bits attached here and there, one boot has a surplus 1911 magazine pouch sewn on, and even the iPro has been modded to make them field safe. And the replica itself is a SEMA SOCOM M14 that had the top handguard replaced with a heat patinaed piece of metal, before it had the barrel professionally sawed off along with the stock. You really gotta love when some of these apocalyptic builders go to the extent that Kyle has here. Everything down to the boots and eye protection has been modded to fit the aesthetic that he was going for. The dedication of this loadout is just seeping out, just like how we saw in the last episode, and I can appreciate that. And you're gonna see that kind of dedication continue as we go down this list. Kyle may have fulfilled one style of airsoft for this show, but as for the 4th spot, Steven of Airsoft Anonymous from Massachusetts helped start off the video game inspired loadouts. With how popular Modern Warfare 2 is right now, I've seen a bunch of ghost loadouts. Lots of them. But when Steven submitted this kit, the submission poll pretty much loved it, so he had to be in the show. As you'll see throughout this segment, Steven adapts his kit for the environments that he plays in. He has many skins, as he says. So this loadout begins with a Gen 3 combat uniform in Ranger Green, tack boots, an OD plate carrier, the tan AK chest rig, and a blue/white shamag. He then has some tack gloves and a watch, a balaclava, and some revision turbofan goggles. The poncho is a Hazard 4 tactical poncho, then he has a Ki-Tak holster on the side loaded with Steven's completely upgraded Novrich SSP-18 with 2 magazines on the other side. Then we have a dump pouch and a rubber knife, but Ghost also wears a retention strap on his belt, so Steven has that as well. As for the rifle, Steven will mostly be found running a suppressed 16-inch SRS fully upgraded with faceless parts with a Vortex scope. But I see that ICS L86 LSW with the Daniel Defense rail. As for secondaries, Steven runs either a Dan Wesson revolver or a 1911, or a trusty Novrich SSX 23. Then he'll strap on a couple of grenades to his chest rig and run into the games. Now, Steven has been playing Ghost for one reason or another for over 12 years since the character was first introduced. A lot of people really like Ghost. After all, he's one of the coolest characters in a series that a lot of people really love. Steven first built a classic version of this loadout to do small films and little short funny videos, but then when he got into Airsoft, he just used the same gear that he already had. He goes to conventions with this loadout, he streams Warzone with the character, and Airsoft is a great way to combine a character that he loves so much into a more physical hobby. Now, mixing passions and adding new hobbies into your roster has become a running theme for a lot of the enthusiasts that submit for these episodes. But some people might not run through $3,000 like Steven has over the years playing as Ghost. But then again, a lot of people don't run World War I loadouts or Wild West kits. However, I'm happy to see that their passion brought them here. But on to number 3, I would like to reveal one of my personal favorites for the show, all the way from Austria. This is Natsuki's SCP Foundation Mobile Task Force loadout. Okay, right away. I love this kit so much because I loved watching Markiplier series over Containment Breach. By the way, thank you Markiplier, Bob, and Wade for autographing one of my Galil magazines so long ago. They're actually really nice people who took the time to teach me a few things about YouTube so long ago during PAX South here in San Antonio. But back to this fine piece. Natsuki's loadout is stellar to look at, especially thanks to his photos that I would say are the best for the show. So enjoy your Best Photos for the Show award. He chose the SCP Foundation theme because he's been a huge fan of it ever since middle school. He already likes law enforcement / security loadouts, so it really came together well. The SCP Foundation doesn't really have a canon look, so Natsuki based his kit off the British CTFO, the classic SAS, and German GSG-9. Now, he may have started off as a cosplayer and brought the vest and helmet to cosplay at conventions, but I really think he blends in so well for Airsoft as well. Probably why he plays with this loadout once every 2 weeks. As for what this loadout consists of, we have a replica Mitch 2000 with a riot visor, real Avon S10 gas mask with a self-made mirror foiled polycarbonate, Invader Gear combat shirt in wolf gray, an upsailing harness that he found at a military surplus shop, a Yakuza plate carrier in black, a Baofeng UV5R with a speaker PTT, and a pistol lanyard. Then there's a laxative first aid bag, black Alice belt, Ki-Tak drop leg platform, Ki-Tak Glock 17 holster, Ki-Tak double Glock molded mag pouch, mechanics M-Packs in wolf gray, Austrian military combat boots, 3 red glow sticks, not 2, 3, a wire cutter, SCP patches, and other patches scattered throughout, and Invader Gear Predator combat pants, which would round off the $840 build cost. Now it's pretty clear that I really love this kit a lot, but to think that Natsuki is putting together a black Mesa loadout next is extra icing on the cake. If you're looking for a bit of inspiration for a lesser seen style of kit, then here's something to feast on. It's just such a cool loadout that I hope draws in more like it to the Airsoft Tops Series in the future. And hey, Ironside 941, I see your SCP Overlord build. I'm definitely not going to leave you out of this show. But now, we find ourselves at the runner-up spot. We have another first for this series coming up next, a proper Metal Gear loadout with a $2,000 build cost attached to it from New Jersey. This is Vitaly's Metal Gear Solid 2 Gurlukovich kit. Oh my god, there's no way I pronounced that right. Gurlukovich? People are gonna fight over who really has the nicest loadout for this show, but Vitaly doesn't make it easy to settle on a single choice. There's replications, tributes, and then there's recreations, and this loadout sits right in that category. Just looking at these first photos, I can tell there was a lot of dedication thrown into this, but let's just check out the parts list. Starting at the top, we have a TSH 4ML tanker helmet, a pair of PNV 57E night vision goggles, Soviet baton uniform, TT SKU camo in brown and orange, black dyed RD54s, a Vertex Standard 900 series radio, a Makarov holster, a Polish AKM bayonet, Soviet jack boots, a 2-hole balaclava, a classic GHK AKS-74U that I haven't seen in a long while, and a WE Tech Makarov. Of course, all the gear is authentic except for the airsoft replicas, which adds a lot of reputation to the submission. The uniform is particularly hard to find in this color combo, Vitaly said, and it took him a good 6 months to find it. Some conversion work had to be done to the rather expensive NVGs that normally use a 12-volt car/tank charger port, but these were swapped out to use 11.1-volt LiPo batteries. The RD54 backpack also had to be dyed black in order to match the loadout seen in game, something that purists are not too fond of hearing. But Vitaly went even further than you might think. He put all this together after replaying the games again in the beginning of the year and after a lot of research. Luckily, everything you see in the game is either real or based on real gear that can be found all over the world. $2,000 might seem like a steep price for just this loadout, but man, this came out great. Someone could confuse these photos for some of those new high-definition mods that people make to all sorts of video games. Or they could just confuse it for an actual real soldier. This kit was always going to make it high up in the countdown once it was submitted, and I really hope to see more submissions from Vitaly in the future. I need to see more super accurate gaming loadouts, and I know some Metal Gear fans out there want to see those loadouts too. So thank you very much, Vitaly, for your submission. So we're down to our last ranked loadout, and I'm really excited to show this absolute masterwork off. I'm happy that so many people were demanding that I make more episodes of the Airsoft Tops series because I'm happy to make them. Just be sure to tell me what you'd like to see in the next episodes, or hit the like button to show your appreciation for this series. I even got something sent in from a full-blown cosplayer that I didn't want to just skip over, so consider this a bonus, an honorable mention. This is Ryan of Idaho. Or at least he's somewhere in here. As I've continued with this series, I've noticed that loadouts that get submitted get bigger and more elaborate. So that would explain this $1,300 Juggernaut kit. A kit that's inspired by several things, like the first appearance of the heavy flame trooper in the internet show Red vs. Blue, a guy called Sharkface.
What the f is with this guy?
It's also inspired by the alien smart gunners and the Skulldozer from Payday 2. Finally, the emblems on Ryan's ammo box, as well as a pair of patches on his vest, are pulled from the ancient Bungie game Marathon, Durandal. To get this heavy look, Ryan added a Flycam Steadicam vest on the bottom, then a dark multicam IOTV vest replica with various pouches. He used motorcycle guards for his forearm protection and anti-snakebite gaiters for his legs. The neck protector is custom made, the helmet is a replica PAS GT, and the gas mask is a full-face air purifier respirator that Ryan got from his occupation in the abatement industry. The filters are HEPA rated with organic vapor cartridges painted black. The ammo backpack is a 16-inch tall ammo can fitted with Alice pack frame. And the feed chute was 3D printed by a seller on Etsy, a website that is pretty common with submissions here. As for what that feed chute is attached to, Ryan didn't awkwardly cut into something like a SOCOM Gear Barrett or even a Snow Wolf. No, that was left to a Lancer Tactical M82, outfitted with a 3D printed spade grip trigger mechanism and a chainsaw grip for the hipfire looks. The metal barrel was also cut down to Barrett's actual CQB length of 20 inches. Again, this is purely used for cosplay purposes at conventions and other big events, where it's hounded by photographers constantly. But even though this has never been taken out to an actual airsoft game, we still love seeing it here. Maybe not when it's against us on the field, but I'd be staring at this kit non-stop at the staging area if I saw it. And that's not bad for an honorable mention. Thanks for the submission, Ryan, but without further ado, this is the top spot, a submission from France. Introducing Jan. Behold a loadout that he crafted to stand apart from the crowds of Milsim players and the rabid rabbits called Speedsofters. He wrote that himself. Well, first off, mission accomplished, that's for sure. What am I even looking at here? This is some grand prize winning cosplay show stuff right here. We have hand-cut leather, 3D printing, molding, and sculpting. This is more of an enormous art project that's spanned over years, and the parts list for this build is way too long for me to go over in a single video, so expect the parts list to be in the description. But here's a brief version that I got from Jan. This loadout consists of many different parts that are all independent and removable, which means two versions of the same loadout exist for different weather conditions. The left arm is made from protective rubber type material, molded and heat cured latex. The forearm and glove are reinforced with foam pads and fabric parts for breathability. The right arm is pretty much empty to allow more mobility, and leaving a piece to place a holstered knife if need be, along with the remote control for his action camera. But he also has an optional full protective leather-like gladiator-style scaled armor shield made out of foam if you would like to use it. Both of the shoulders are made out of foam covered in a thick resistant PU leather. The torso protection is also made of foam, hand sculpted with a Dremel. The coat was then made out of breathable fabric, all tailor-made for a perfect fit, with high breathable polyester mesh on the sides and adjustable leather straps throughout. The belt was then made back in 2018 to replace an old leg holster. It's comprised of a cheap tactical belt from Amazon, mostly for the heavy-duty quick-release clip. But Jan added on a foam base plate covered in PU leather. They were then joined together with 3D printed ABS belt loops. A quick retention 3D printed holster for a high cap of 2011 was added, two removable quick release grenade holsters, a double mag hard pouch, and a handmade dumb pouch that's also been sculpted to be a 1-to-1 screen accurate prop of the TV show Ash vs. Evil Dead's Necronomicon. That's so freaking cool. The leather belts crossing the torso are also part of a handmade prop from the same TV show that allows Jan to carry a double barrel shotgun, of course, as well as a magnet platform that holds onto a sword. So he has a boomstick, that's all I needed to know. Finally, the helmet is printed out of a random model he found on Thingiverse. Initially, it cuts slightly over the eyebrows and just over the chin. It's all 3D printed in PLA with steel mesh reinforcements and coated in hard epoxy. Around 75% of it is comprised of 3D printed parts assembled by hand. And the overall final product was resculpted with a soldering iron and a 3D printing pencil. It's now set in place with a dozen neodymium magnets and various angle cuts that make it stand in place perfectly. Jan then integrated red LEDs to be able to signal when he's been hit. Nothing here was left untouched, and he's super proud of this labor of love. The replicas of choice are also prime. He can either be seen running a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun, his boomstick, or a KJW High Kappa, or even a Dan Wesson 357 Magnum, which is used with 3D printed shotgun shells. Of course, this is truly a loadout that covers all of its owner's loves. Some people are going to say this is way too far, or that there's so much unneeded stuff here. But I say let him enjoy it. After all, he only nearly built everything. But absolutely a lot of people are going to say that he deserves the top spot. So let me know if Jan has your praises in the comments down below. Or let me know what other loadout was your favorite. This series is definitely going to continue, since so many people have been telling me how much they enjoyed the last episode. As long as people are enjoying this series for inspiration or to get up to speed about airsoft, then I'm happy. The more people that join the game because of some silly countdowns I put together is always welcomed. And if you would like to see more countdowns, then just be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you would like to submit for a future show, then just make sure to follow me on Facebook or Instagram. That's where I announce submission polls where you can post photos of your loadouts and replicas. I do need to build this Instagram page back up, since Instagram keeps hitting me with bans and suspensions. So if you would be a homie and follow me there, then thank you. But until that next video drops from the city of Dallas, Texas, this has been Scott Hollenbeck, and I will be sure to see you all next time. Hey y'all, so that was the 8 Airsoft Loadouts countdown. I wanted to make it a little special by getting a little bit of everything in this big submission episode. Honestly, I'm just doing this last bit just totally off the cuff because I wanted to really thank all the USAirsoft channel members. We gained like 25 or maybe even 30 channel members in the past month, which I understand is probably because of the last giveaway, which I have another giveaway coming up. So I want to thank every single person that's on the screen right now. We have so many different things that are going on for the next couple months. Next month, well, I guess it's this month. We're in January right now. I'll be heading off to Las Vegas for SHOT Show. We'll be driving over there. And then after SHOT Show on the 20th through the 30th of January, we're going to be in SoCal trying to hit up SC Village. We're going to be at Jungle. We're going to be probably hitting up a few other places while we're there. I have a lot of friends out there, thank goodness, that are going to be showing us around all sorts of places. I'm going to try to link up with Demo and a few people that I don't think they want me to say just yet because plans might change. But yeah, got a whole lot of things planned. I have a couple really weird videos that I want to do. I want to dunk a G&G in a tub of Mountain Dew for a week and see if it'll work, which means I have to go to Umbrella Armory because I just want them to be the ones to open up that disgusting replica. But anywho, I just hope that everyone else out there is doing really well. It's been a while since I got to talk to you guys like this. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all to all the subscribers on the screen right now, like Upmost Chipmunk, Bobby Fortnite, Brett Smith, DJ8920, Banger Airsoft, Deathcoth, hopefully I'm saying your name right, Yaki Yuki, Anthony Crocker, Kid, Kenneth Freeman, Unknown Player, Paul B, Iceman, Roman Cabot, Flex Airsoft, Parker Peter, Not Shadow, everybody on here. Those are just some of the people that have just recently signed up. But I want to thank everyone that has signed up, got another giveaway coming, and a whole bunch of other videos. So I hope to see you all in the future. But until then, have yourselves a good day and or night. See you, everyone.